All right. Good morning. Actually, good afternoon. This is Dave. This is What's Up, Dave, my live stream that I just say hi to my friends on the internet. You know who you are. And it's been a while since I've done one of these. The last month I pretty much took off to focus more on what am I doing in my life, issues like that. Let me turn the sound down over here. But I'm feeling back to normal now. The past month I was feeling kind of this existentialist angst, and wasn't really in the mood to talk to people. And so instead of me forcing myself to do this every day, what I decided to do was just take some time off and regroup. And I think I've largely regrouped. I couldn't tell you exactly what's different, but I suppose that might come out in the next few days, assuming that I keep going on this. I think one critical thing was just getting a sense of what my life balance was. And by that I mean how much can I get done every day and still feel refreshed, or not like there's too much stuff going on. It's a little bit, at first, you know, on some level it's discouraging to think that I have limits about how much I can do every day, but I've been trying to be kind to myself and seeing just how much can I do without feeling too much stress about things, and how much can I get done that feels like it's actual progress. That was kind of the balancing issues I was facing. I wanted to do everything, get everything done quickly, but a lot of the things that I want to do can't be done quickly. Because they involve me learning something or understanding something, and that always seems to take time. You know, I can't insta-absorb it, and I found it very frustrating. And then also at the same time, I wasn't wondering if any of the things I wanted to do were worth doing after all. You know, that's the existential part. But I think I'm kind of over that now, but we'll see. As more of it comes to me, I will discuss it. So, the format for these What's Up Daves, if I remember right, usually started with some kind of show and tell. So, let me do that. Let's get some show and tell going over here. I'm going to set this phone up as a camera. So, this should be going live, and we are going to first switch to this. Now on the wrong screen. Alright, so this is the NDI camera. And what I'm showing here is the MIDI controller. I've shown this before. I had just finally set this thing up to act as a scene switcher. So as I move in closer here, you can see that on the left side there's the slate. So if I press this button, it'll switch to the slate. If I press this one, I have the various split views. You can't see it right now if I go back to NDI chat. But these bottom the buttons here, this is like the camera 1, aux cam, the screen, and this one is the NDI mode we're on right now. Up here, these are the full screen versions. So if I wanted to go full screen without the chat window, I would press this button. Oops, this button. Tweak. And now we've gone full screen. It looks like, yeah, that looks like about right. But I usually want the chat window on, so I do that. So this is just a regular, this is a tiny MIDI controller. It can just fit right in front of here, or I can position off the side. It's kind of like a cheapo version of the Elgato, that live stream button thing. What's it called? Stream Deck, the Stream Deck. This was like about 50 bucks, and I can still use it as a MIDI keyboard, which is nice. I'm using a piece of software called Controller Mate. Let me pull that up really quickly. So I'm just trying to, where is it? Launchpad. Controller Mate is a piece of software for the Macintosh that allows you to change, I'll switch this screen. It allows you to modify the way your devices work. I primarily use it as a way of disabling mouse acceleration on the Macintosh, which I hate. But you can also have it send keystrokes and do things. So it can understand MIDI, so I have this MIDI set up over here. And it's set up as a bunch of function groups. So this unit here, this actually says, it outputs true if the OBS app is running. Because when I press these keys, it's sending out macro keystrokes to the current application that's in the foreground. If OBS is running, I don't want this to do anything. So the first thing it does is checks for the key that's being pressed, and if it's the key is pressed, in this case it's the F sharp number 4, which is I think it's it's the full screen camera view. This key here. It will first bring OBS to the foreground. This is an Apple script. Over here you can see it says it tells the application named OBS to activate and then waits for 200 milliseconds before it actually will ascend the keystroke, which is Shift Command blah blah blah. So this big long thing that I set up in the OBS screen settings, which look like this. So if I go here and you go to hotkeys, there's a bunch of switch to scene shortcuts that I've set up. That's there. So that's basically what this does. And you can see as I press these keys, you can see like here it's lining up, or you can't see it now, but if we go back to screen, and this one over here, as I'm pressing the key on the keyboard. Let's get Oxcam to look at this. So as I'm pressing this key here, you can see it lighting up in the main display there. So this is pretty cool. This allows me to switch around different buttons. I can access my split screen modes, and this should make it easier to talk and design and switch screens whenever I need to. So let me go back to the NDI camera. The next thing that I got was this. This is a, oops, there's a cat down here. Excuse me, kitty. Zoop, zoop. This is a Model 33 ASR, which stands for Automatic Send and Receive, I think. Actually, maybe it's not automatic. This might not be the ASR model. But it's a completely manual, mechanical teletype that allows you to type. And this requires electricity, but all the mechanicals, there's like all this very highly machined linkages and gears and motors. There is a motor, but the decoding for this actually is all manual. So it also has it also has like paper tape for recording and playing back messages. So what this would do, the golden age of teletype, what these would do are they would send messages back and forth for long distances, and these were invented in the 1800s, but were used up until about the 1970s, I think. 70s, 80s, when fax machines became more popular. But you know, so what if you got the news wire? They would be printing these things out at 160 words per minute to 100 words per minute. So, and then I've just always kind of wanted one of these because these were used a lot in the early mini computer or early microcomputer days before they had the CRT monitors. So this is how you would enter stuff into your Altair 8800. You would actually pack in the data here, or you would save the program on a paper tape and you would read it back in. So this gave you a way to actually save programs before there was cassette drives, even hard disks, floppy disks. This predates all of that stuff. You'd either have to re-enter the program each time, or you would hopefully save it on a tape and read it back in. And programs weren't very long back then. This would probably take 3 minutes, I think, to read, like a very small program that didn't do very much. So before I plug this in, though, there's some things I need to refurbish just to make sure. I got this from my friend Joanne, who was like clearing out her basement, and I think she said that she got this machine at MIT. So this CASC number 920, this might mean something to MIT people. Maybe it's a course or something like this. I'm assuming that this was acquired legally, but if they want their machine back, they know where to get it. So that's going to be a project. Maybe I can print out tweets, or it might be neat, I think, because you can still buy this paper tape. It would be cool to either print receipts on it, like if I'm shipping like paper stuff, because the published paper looks really cool. It's like, this one's an 8 wide reader, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. So it'll punch in 8 wide little holes like across these things, with like a little like runner strip, or like this is the drive shaft. Here is that long, bigger notched wheel, and it must punch it. So this is the reader part, and then this is the writer. And there's some damage to this housing, unfortunately, but it looks like there's some solenoids down here that probably punch out from under here. But all this needs to be cleaned. It's pretty old, and apparently the lubrication like turns into if it's not maintained regularly, all the lubrication locks up. So this actually has to be soaked in a bath, disassembled. But in the meantime, it's a nice display piece. I just want to clean it up a little bit more, and I might steampunkify this thing. So instead of keeping the original housing, which is, you can see it's been damaged here, and this whole area is, these pegs have broken off a long time ago, so it doesn't sit right. You can actually take the mechanism apart and then mount it onto another board, and then just have all the guts exposed, and so it just will look cool sitting out. And you make some sort of like glass case around it so people don't get their fingers stuck on the gears. And so that's the last exciting thing that I got. Actually, there's more things, but for now, that's what's going on with this. All right. So that's the show and tell portion of What's Up, Dave. Let's see what else is going on. I think at this point I would usually start planning the day. What I've been doing recently is actually using the accountability board in our chat room. So here's the Discord chat, where we're our virtual co-working chat room. And in the accountability channel, like, people have been posting their lists of things that they want to do for the day. So I've gotten in the habit of doing just posting it here and just re-editing this message as the day goes on. So what I could do right now is I didn't think of adding the stream as something I was going to do What's Up, Dave live stream. And so I'll update this as time goes on. I'm still working on the timeless and taskless productivity system. And so I haven't been using the emergent task planner at all for the past month. This was useful to understand how I would feel not using it. And I guess you could say that I've been in unproductive or unscheduled mode for a while to see how bad it was. And it turns out that if I don't have a lot of stuff going on, like I don't have a lot of meetings to go to and so forth, I don't actually need a lot of the scheduling. I've been purposely trying to simplify what I'm doing a lot. So like, this is what the ETP looks like if you haven't seen one before. And so the way it works is you write down the things that you're going to do, and then you fill out the day. Like if you have a meeting at 3 o'clock, you might fill in that I have a meeting here, but it allows you to visualize how much time you have left in the day. And if you're scheduled, or you have places that you got to start and end at a certain time, this form works great. But I'm in a different place at the moment. I'm more in a trying to sustain progress on multiple fronts. And that's where my anxiety comes from. My anxiety is not from how to parcel out the day. My anxiety, like what I'm concerned about, I should say, is that I'm getting the feeling that I'm getting the right things done every day. And I think that's a different form. So I had done some, where did I put those? Some design of what that form could look like. I don't know what I did with the paper. What did I do with it? I did have a, let me see. Instead of doing that, let's pull up the Illustrator document that I was working on. So bear with me for a second. Let me switch back to the screen mode. And let me pull up Illustrator. Just notice how easy that was to switch the screen. Ordinarily, I'd had to be digging around on the OBS monitor to make that show up. And let's assign this to desktop 2. Yeah, so this is the last version of the taskless timeless form that I was working on. But this was before I had that month of free running .planning. This did a good job of capturing some ideas. The idea that these are the projects I wanted to be making periodic progress on. These are just some process notes. I might have changed these. Frustrations, direct path to result, critical step. These are, I'm not sure what these are yet. These are like little bits of methods that I apply to get unstuck. And then the gathering list is like, well, what did I end up doing? So I have some insights on how I might change that differently, change that up, make that different. So it's still an ongoing project to get that going. So that's about it for right now. I'm going to get into these going slowly. Just try to get in the habit of talking a little bit about what I'm doing in every day, sharing some stuff that I'm doing, trying to keep a good attitude about it. And so that's it for now. I've been doing more virtual co-working, but super boring stuff. Don't watch this stuff unless you want to unless you want to put it on in the background and work on your own projects and feel that I'm around, like, there with you, trying to get some work done. Work that's super boring. But yeah, hopefully I can find the joy in my work again. I'm still not quite at that point, but that's the goal. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a good Monday, and I will see you tomorrow. Now I had to wait for 10 seconds. Maybe 15.